Yo dog, Candy Boucher here, next level painting, hitting you up on the literal best of all days. On this glorious Friday morning, we're coming at you with another tutorial. We're coming in on the Yujing tag, that amazing yellow model, big old badass with a sword. We just did his power sword last week, and the week before that, I showed you the ancient Chinese techniques to painting yellow. This week, I'm going to show you how to take a model like that to the tabletop. We're talking about a tournament standard, a sort of a 3-color minimum, kind of like the tournament, rubric that you could bring to any tournament and feel good about. Like you've got all the things that make a model look good, but there is obviously another level beyond this with all the edge highlights, making the armor pop and everything. But by the end of today's tutorial, you'll be able to make a model like this look good. Look good enough to impress people at a tournament. And I'm going to show you that one of those elements isn't in spite of the other. You can get a model to this level, play with it at a tournament, and still in your spare time at your Beats lab, continue to work on the model and do all the edge highlights and pop it. So this way you can apply it to a whole army. If you got a whole faction of these guys, you can get them to this standard all in one go, like assembly line it all. Play your games with your buddies at your tournaments, slamming back your beers and your drinks, having all the fun. And then in your spare time on the weekends, pick one of the models and say, I'm going to do all the edge highlights on this guy's yellow. Then over time, the whole army will be done at that level, and you still get to play with it, and you don't put out an inferior product. That's the next level painting secrets. That's the ancient next level painting techniques. I want to take a brief moment to talk about Patreon. Patreon is my personal crowdfunding page. Go to patreon.com. Check it out. If you're interested in exclusive access to all these videos up to 2 weeks early and beyond in some situations, and an ad-free experience, go over there, poke your head around, see if the rewards make you happy, and if you want to throw me some money. I use 100% of the money to improve my overall process and keep these tutorials flowing. Also, check out the longwar.net. It is the home of the battle reports and the fastest growing video library in 40K. Right now, it's over 25, maybe even 30 videos a month, exclusive early access, ad-free, everything. Anyway, let's jump right into this video. All right, let's do this thing, guys. Let's take this Yujin tag, this beast. Let's take him to the tabletop. Last week, we got this yellow on him using our airbrush and several ancient Chinese techniques, and we hacked yellow. This week, we're going to start painting the exoskeleton. We're going to use air black and air gray. This is German gray. And here's actually one of the paintbrushes I love to use. I'm going to use this to get all the detail areas, and I'm also going to use any random bigger brush I have. I just wanted to show you this brush. A lot of people have been asking. It's a really affordable brush, and it really helps you with the detail areas. So I'm just cutting in some of the areas that are real close to the yellow. Areas I do not want to mess up. It's totally fine to do them in any order you want. Like a lot of times I go in with the big brush, get all the big areas finished, then go in with the detail brush. Right now I'm just doing the little detail areas first, then I'm going to grab the big brush. I go back and forth the entire time. Basically what we're doing here is we're painting every inch of this exoskeleton, this under armor area. We're painting every inch of it with this mix of black and German gray. So it's kind of a real dark gray. All it really does is give depth to the black. It's really, I can't say enough good things about German gray. It's one of the best grays I've ever used. It's great for highlighting black. It's great for blending into black. It's amazing. This is going to help us create insane amounts of contrast with this yellow. Be methodical. You don't want to be all crazy flipping around with the brush, because you can actually send small particles of this black paint onto the yellow surface without even realizing it if you start moving too fast. I'm going to pull out the bigger brush, going to start hitting some of those big flat areas. Going to just start, manipulating the paint into the areas that I want it to be, giving a wide berth to the sections that are really on the border of one of those yellow armor plates. Like I said, you don't want to go back and have to try to fix some yellow that you just spent all this time airbrushing to this amazingly smooth and clean transition. Having said that, mistakes do happen, and sometimes you're going to have to just do it. Sometimes you're going to mess up and you have to go back, tape off an area, use the airbrush again, or just do your best with the paintbrush. We actually gloss coated this guy and then re-matte coated this guy before we even started this process. That was to protect the model as much as I could because it's a big, heavy, like almost a pound of pewter. And since there's a subtle satin finish here on this Under Armour area, it's actually helping the paint flow. Now the paint's not sticking as much as you want, but I'm gonna do a couple little coats anyway as I go. The fact that it's a little bit glossy but not totally glossy actually helps the black paint find its way right into those areas right up against the yellow plates with minimal paint strokes. I find that a couple thin applications of the paint works really well with this technique. It is pretty advanced. You might not want to try it right out the gate because it can be infuriating to have to go back and do a couple light coats. I do this all the time, so for me it's not that hard, but I have messed up models in the past. I have, dripped the black paint directly onto the yellow panels, even on this model, and had to clean it up myself. So this is pretty, this is not like super advanced, but it definitely is one of those things you got to pay attention to and you got to be methodical. There are no shortcuts to this process. You have to just put the work in. And like I said, this is step one to getting your model ready for the tournament, for the tabletop, that 3-color standard. But what we're doing right now is what we would have done anyway at the next stage in getting this model right. The reason we're focusing on the exoskeleton is because even though I'm going to go back in later and edge highlight all those yellows are going to have to fix some of the overspill from the black, because some of this black is going to get right up on the edge of the yellow in a place I don't want it to be. And since I got to go back and edge highlight those areas anyway, it's efficient to not go back and forth. Imagine if we highlighted yellow first, then put the black in there, and then got our black on some of the edge highlights, and then had to go refix the edge highlights. This saves an entire step because you have to assume there's going to be a certain degree of cutting back and forth with the highlighting process. So just learn this over time. That's an ancient next level painting technique right there. So we are now up to his head. I mean, I'm talking, this is maybe a 15-minute video. I spent literally all day cutting this guy's armor back in. This is not easy if you want to do it right. So focus on it. This is one of those times I tell you, man, where if you're watching YouTube in the background, if you're watching Netflix in the background, you'll just hit pause, turn your music off, sit down, turn your light up, scoot up to the desk and really focus on this. This is one of those areas that you're going to be rewarded for patience and being methodical. As I've said, there's no shortcut to what we're doing right now. You got to just put the work in. The shortcut in a lot of ways was the airbrush. But as you saw from the previous video, we nurtured this airbrush up and you just don't want to mess it up, man. But it's so crazy. Look how good he looks right now with some of that black poking through, giving that contrast. I mean, there's a new area to paint. Every time you look at this model, you're like, oh, it's done. Nope. There's a new spot right there on the little baby carrier dude on his chest. Oh wait, what about this other spot right here? This guy's hands are black. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh look, it's done now. Oh no, there's still an armor piece above the crotchal region there that we just painted. There it is. And he's pretty much there now though. He looks good. He's got a lot of contrast. I love this guy. Now let's grab the German gray and the airbrush flow improver. This is the secret technique right here. This is the shit that I'm always talking about. We're gonna come in and we're gonna subtly drop some German gray off onto some of these bigger flat panels. We're not even gonna tape anything off. I'm just gonna be subtle and I know where I'm putting the airbrush. Now you could liquid mask this entire model. You could do whatever you want. I've seen people use liquid mask. I'm not comfortable using it. I don't like it. I may get into it for some of these more advanced models, but for now, I'm just careful. And see, I do little tricks like this. Like I'm holding up a piece of paper here, and all I'm doing with this German gray is I'm kind of pre-highlighting some of the bigger, flatter areas of this black mix we laid down. That's kind of gonna give me an amazing effect when I come back in later and I edge highlight it all. It's gonna give it a subtle, non-metallic look, like a non-metal metallic look. So now we're gonna add a little bit of white into the mix with that German gray, just a little bit, and we're gonna pop some of those areas we just did with a radial highlight from the center out. Just burst it out, make it look good. Then when you come back in and you use kind of a more extreme edge highlight, it really is gonna go far with that gleaming metallic effect that you want. It's a lot more interesting than just painting all this silver. and then putting a wash on it. This is kind of what is normal for Infinity models. People really like to go crazy and just crack out, as it were, on just making these models look amazing. Now, GW, we like to use metals, we like to use washes, we like to dry brush. That's kind of not what the Infinity line is for. These models are the hobbyists, models. They're not easy to paint and they take a lot of time to nurture and put your hobby love into them. Let's grab some of that pure white and just add a tiny subtle pop of radial white to these highlights we just dropped off on this guy. And that's gonna finally put the nail in the coffin on that non-metal metallic effect that we're gonna go for here. There it is, pow, right there in the center of the calf muscle. We're gonna put that on the inner calf right there. We're gonna put it any big flat surface we can readily reach. The rest of it, we're gonna just have to do it by hand, man. Like, you're not gonna be able to airbrush it. Like I said, we're not using liquid mask here. I might do a video on liquid mask in the future. It's just not my favorite technique. It's not in the next level painting arsenal. I find it takes even longer to do what I want to do with liquid mask than if I just did it this way and then hand painted the rest. So he's looking fresh. He's looking nice. He's kind of getting to that 3 color. He's almost ready. I mean, like, a lot of people would be like, oh, that's it, right? Well, no, we're going to paint that base artifact, like that corpse that's laying on his base. We're going to kind of paint it to match the Panoche army from the previous videos we've been doing for the other Infinity faction. And that's Prussian blue. We're just going to paint it. It's actually like a corpse, another piece of power armor. So we're going to just paint it Prussian blue, which is the color we used on the entire Panoche army. And while we're doing that, you're going to notice this guy's sword somehow has magically been painted. Well, obviously last week we painted the sword in the Power Weapons tutorial. Go back, check that video out if you missed it, and I'll show you an entire 10-minute tutorial on how we painted that sword. So now that we can move past that sword and not have to drown out the quality of this video with a whole other mini featurette, we can focus on this base. Now the next step is mixing blue-green with Prussian blue and kind of airbrushing some subtle highlights into that corpse at his feet. Real simple. I do have plans in taking this model to the next level, and I do plan on rusting out and really doing some serious battle damage on that corpse, but this video is getting it to the tabletop. And there he is. It's real smooth. Nice highlights, real subtle, pops. But I am going to do one more thing before we call it good. Obviously, we got to get this guy in his base, and obviously we got to get that corpse looking a little bit better than that. So obviously we got to take this corpse to 1 notch above that. We're going to mix a little bit of white into our blue-green, and we're going to do one more tiny little highlight just to kind of drive it home that this army that we're doing, like these Panoche, these Eugene, all this Infinity stuff, it's high contrast, high color, super hyper colors. So we can't just stop with a muted mid-tone. We got to pop it out to one last highlight. We are going to come back and mute it out, but we're going to do that with a wash. But before we wash it, we're going to use gloss acrylic varnish, a little bit of airbrush thinner, and we're going to mix up a gloss varnish, and we're going to spray down that base because I am going to wash that thing. And I'm actually, since I have it in my brush, I'm going to give the whole model a quick once over just to help protect it. I do multiple thin coats of varnish throughout the process, kind of at every milestone. There he is. He's all shiny. He looks terrible. But that is a very high level of protection in that varnish. We're going to hit it up with our normal dull coat that we use, which is Model Masters from Testers. And we're going to mute it back down. We're going to bring it down 1 notch because obviously we don't want things to be glossy. But obviously, before we do that, we're going to let the gloss coat dry and we're going to just wash this corpse at his feet with Vallejo Black Wash. And obviously when something is gloss coated, the surface tension is totally manipulated and it really helps you flow the wash into the cracks you want without leaving a lot behind on the big flat areas. So we're also going to take this opportunity to go grab some of these pipes and some of these tubes and drop some black wash in there too. This is going to go a long way later when we start highlighting everything to know that in these really hard to reach areas, there is a nice dark ring around every single one of these plates, every one of these pipes, every one of these hoses, because on the big surfaces, we're just going to have to do that by hand. Now that that's done, We're going to hit up the hilt from the power sword tutorial. We never watched it in that tutorial, so since now I'm here at that stage in the game, black wash over gold. There it is. We'll come back and highlight that later, don't worry. But he's looking fresh. We're going to let him dry. We're going to let everything dry up 100% before we varnish him and bring him back to the dull coat. And there he is. We mounted him on his base. He is what I consider to be tournament standard. He's tabletop ready. And obviously, if you have some questions on how we did everything, check out the power sword tutorial. Check out the airbrush hacks for doing the green bases. But also, you're going to want to check out our next level pinning tutorial, and that'll answer all your questions. If you like these tutorials, check out Next Level Painting on Patreon. Become a patron of the arts today. We offer early and exclusive access to our videos and a rewards program for different pledge levels. Patreon is PayPal and credit card secure, so you don't have to worry about that. We use 100% of the money to improve our process.